Have you ever asked yourself, how is it that so many reporters and so many fact checkers suck at their jobs? A couple of reasons, really, and I'll tell you those in a second. But this, let's call it Exhibit Z. And I'll put the news cop hat on once again to get down to the truth of what actually happened. Simple question here. Did the president, when he was waiting for the bodies of fallen troops from Afghanistan to arrive at Dover Air Force Base, keep checking his watch? Like he had somewhere else to be? That's the question. You can see from this still frame that there might be something to this, so let's dive in. And then as we go, make sure you watch all this video because I'm going to show you what the fact-checking websites posted, what they're trying to sweep under the rug, and the big corrections that they're adding to these stories. But to go back to the beginning, we must go back to Fox News, where Darren Hoover, this is one of the fathers of a fallen Marine, Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover. He died in Afghanistan in this cluster F of a withdrawal. You can imagine he's angry. You can imagine he's grieving. You can even imagine he might exaggerate just a little tiny bit. But he's talking about the story that these other Gold Star families were mentioning when everybody was sitting there in this solemn occasion was Biden checking his watch.
In reference to the checking of his watch, that didn't happen just once. That happened on every single one that came out of that airplane. It happened on every single one of them. They would release the salute and he looked down at his watch on every last one, all 13.
So he says that the president looked at his watch on all 13 passes of the Caskets at Dover Air Force Base. We can see from this footage, and we can see that at least one time the president did indeed look at his watch. But we must dive deeper than just
Nicole
this.
G., who was
Watch
one
now.
of the two female Marines who were killed among the 13. She was the one who posted that Instagram post.
So the president clearly looked at his watch and then tried to be slick and shuffle his hands away. But this is just the beginning of it, right?
Who was one of the
obvious.
two female Marines who were killed among the 13. She was the one who posted.
All right, so we know that he was looking at his watch there, but this started to bubble up, and the press secretary, Jen Psaki, was asked point blank about this. Now, her answer doesn't matter because she didn't face the question, but the reporters knew what was going on, and here's what they were saying.
One question on the dignified transfer, and I want to get to Afghanistan. Some of the Gold Star families have criticized the president's conduct at the dignified transfer. There was a father of one Marine who said that the president appeared to be checking his watch every time a flag-draped transfer case came out of the plane. And a sister of another Marine said that it felt like a fake and scripted apology. Was the president looking at his watch, and does he have a message to those people who felt that they were offended?
So Jen Psaki doesn't even refer to the watch in her answer. She skirts around that and she doesn't want to address it. But don't worry, the fact check websites are going to come to the administration's defense. And they did. This is an archived version of the USA Today fact checking piece on this. It's impossible to overstate just how important this stuff is. These fact-checking websites like USA Today and Snopes are used by almost every major search engine and social media outlet to determine what is true and what is false. They need to be accurate. They should never be partisan, and they should take their time before being wrong. But they wanted to defend the Biden administration. Fact check, Biden honored service members killed in Kabul, checked watch only after ceremony, they said. They said the claim was Donald Trump saluted the caskets of fallen U.S. service members while Joe Biden checked his watch. On August 29th, Joe Biden paid his respect to U.S. service members who were killed in a terrorist attack at the Kabul airport. The President and First Lady Jill Biden bowed and placed their hands over their hearts. But on social media, some doubted Biden's sincerity. One popular post has two photos, one of Biden and one of now former President Donald Trump. The picture shows Biden checking his watch as Trump salutes the folks. They go on to say Biden looks at watches, caskets of 13 service members killed in Afghanistan are delivered to their families. They say at the end of this that they disagree, that they do not think that is the case. They said it looks like Biden only looked at his watch after the ceremony was over. Look at this right here. Our rating, partly false. Based on our research, well, they did the research. We should trust them, right? We rate partly false the claim that Trump saluted the caskets of fallen U.S. service members while Biden checked his watch. The pictures are real, but they don't accurately summarize two events. The way Biden honored the 11 caskets presented at Dover Air Force Base with a hand over his heart was similar to how Trump did it. He checked his watch, last sentence, but he did so after the ceremony had ended. So that was the first run on this. Over on Snopes, they said, we watched the full video of this dignified transfer, but couldn't find any other moment where Biden checked his watch. We also looked through photographs from Getty Images, the Associated Press, and Reuters. We looked everywhere, they assure you. It doesn't appear Biden checked his watch at any other point during this solemn service, but he was frequently off screen. So, over on Snopes, again, a very important website because this is used everywhere to determine fact from fiction. They say, there's a mixture. There's a mixture of those two. They said that there's no video or photographic evidence to support the claim that Biden checked his watch 13 times during all of this. Now, I'll get to the corrections in just a moment, but it's not hard to find it. You see this right here? What does that look like? That's President Biden checking his watch. You can see from AP Images, this was taken at 11:51:38. Okay, so that's one watch check at least. You can see right here from AP Images, that is taken at 12:01:05. A second glance at the watch from the president right there. It's very clear to me. Over on Getty, another photo of the president glancing at his watch, meaning at least 3 times the president is looking at his watch. You look at your watch one time to just be like, what time is it? You look at your watch twice because you kind of got to get out of there. You look at watch 3 times, you're ready to leave. You're done with whatever's happening here. You're clearly wondering, when does this end so I can get out of here? But he had those fact-checking groups to get his back until they finally were confronted with this. Here's what's on the website right now for USA Today. They said, corrections and clarifications. Let's zoom in on this. This story was updated September 2nd to note that Biden checked his watch multiple times at the dignified transfer event, including during the ceremony itself. The rating on this claim has been changed from partly false to missing context. We're still in the negative here. We've gone from partly false to now we're at missing context, right? The context is they're really leaning on the fact that this Gold Star dad, whose son was just killed in a mess of an exit from Afghanistan, said 13 and said every casket. But what is the gist of it? Was Biden repeatedly looking at his watch during this ceremony? Yes. Now they correct it, but they still say missing context. We rate missing context the claim that Trump saluted the caskets, yada, yada, yada. Biden did check his watch at least 3 times, according to photos and video reviewed by USA Today. Several family members of the fallen service members who attended the ceremony have criticized Biden for checking his watch. So they claimed that he was checking his watch. You know he checked his watch at least 3 times, but it's missing context or whatever. This is why people worry about these sites. Over on Snopes, they ran a correction as well. This is the version of it that currently exists on Snopes. They did the full turnaround. Did Biden check watch multiple times during transfer of fallen soldiers? They now say, true. At least they fixed this. Now I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, doesn't this show the system works? Sometimes. Sometimes it shows the system works and you go back and you correct it. How many people saw the other version of this before they were like, this is some right-wing lie that the president looked at his watch. He didn't do anything wrong. He only looked at the watch after the ceremony was done. Just a bunch of fake news. You respect these people. You expect them to be right. However, you might not know that some of them are incredibly incompetent, incredibly partisan, and incredibly lazy. And Daniel Funke, I believe is how you say his name, he's from USA Today. He's the one who wrote that and also works for PolitiFact. He went from new fact check. A viral photo makes it look like President Biden checked his watch during a ceremony, but that's misleading. Really. The way Biden honored the 11 caskets presented at Dover Air Force Base was similar to how Trump did it. They keep going back to that. Then he said Biden checked his watch, but he did so after the ceremony had ended. Then he said, as many as you know, this story's been corrected. Biden checked his watch multiple times. I regret the error. Then he went on to play victim. Like, it's easy to dunk on this right now. How dare you? How could you do this? What I just showed you was not hard to do. In fact, I found all of this in 10 minutes or so that I could prove that on more than one occasion, Biden looked at his watch. And I don't know if that's the biggest deal in the world, but it shows you that maybe you shouldn't put all of your trust in these fact checkers. And we need to hold their feet to the fire because, as I said, they are incredibly important. If they get to decide on YouTube, as Snopes does, on Google, as PolitiFact and Snopes and USA Today fact checking columns do, all of these major websites, Instagram and elsewhere, everywhere we are online, on social media, on search, and on videos, if they get to be the arbiters of the truth, it is incredibly important that they get the story right. And they seemed too interested, in this case, to me, in defending President Biden and on dunking on Gold Star families. Why the hell would they want to do that? Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that share button so more people can get the word, get the truth, and see what you just watched. Also, if you're new around here at facebook.com/thenewsjunkie, hit that follow button for videos just like this every single day. You can also subscribe at youtube.com/thenewsjunkie. Big thanks to all of my supporters on Facebook. You can support right under this video. There's a button to support the page so I can do more videos just like this, and I greatly appreciate that. Magnets are headed to you. I'm going to mail every single one of you a magnet when we get to 110 supporters on Facebook in particular. That'll happen very, very soon. I look forward to your comments as always. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you again real soon.